Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And today, the Athletic came out with something called the 2023 MLB Wild Card Era Franchise Rankings, where they basically ranked how all 30 teams how well they fared since the 1995 season. So they did this last year, but they did make a change. It's now the wild card era, 1995 to present. Last year they did the 30 team era, which was 1998 to present. So they've added 3 years to it. And basically, how their scoring system went was for each season, if the team won the World Series, they got 9 points. If they lost in the World Series, 6 points. Losing in the Championship Series, 3 points. Losing in the Division Series, 2 points. Losing in the Wild Card, 1 point. Now, they also have negative points now. So, well, teams are rewarded each time they win the division. They get plus 1 point and docked when they lose at least 90 games in consecutive seasons. So if they did so, they lost a point. So it mentions that, like the Tigers lost 2001 to 2000, from 2001 to 2005, 5 straight seasons, lost at least 90 games, so they got negative 4 points. So let's get into it. Athletic is behind a paywall. I'm not going to share the article, but we'll go through all the 30 teams and where they ranked. So tier 5 was the lightweights. As you can see, there is one team that got a negative point total. That is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Other than a few years with Andrew McCutchen, they've had zero success. It goes on to mention they've had more 90-loss seasons, 13, than winning seasons, 4, and playoff games, 8 combined. Yuck. Of course, the Baltimore Orioles have a plethora of young talent on their team. Almost made the postseason last year. Biggest surprise maybe in baseball. The Royals, despite making back-to-back World Series and winning once, very little success other than that. Those are only two postseason appearances since 1995. The Cincinnati Reds I've only made it to the the championship series once since 1995. Haven't made it to a World Series. If you go a few years further back, could have gotten their World Series win. The Blue Jays, much like the Reds, we just need to go a couple years back with them for their World Series. Fortunately, the World Series aren't included for them. I've had some success of late. Let's see if they could continue to climb up. The Rockies, been a franchise since 1993, have just one World Series appearance and never won their division. Let's look at Tier 4, which is known as the Welterweights. So 24 through 17, starting with the Brewers, who have made the postseason a bunch of late after really struggling, not making it from 95 to 2007. We got the Seattle Mariners, who finally overcame their lengthy postseason drought to make it this past season. The first team to win a World Series to be on here. The Washington Nationals won the World Series in 2019, but have really struggled since and never made it to a championship series, them or the Expos, in that time other than their World Series. The Miami Marlins, 2 World Series titles. Other than that, just one playoff appearance, which came in the truncated 2020 season. The San Diego Padres, surely hoping to move up, have a stacked lineup this season. Detroit Tigers made a couple World Series with Miguel Cabrera. Unfortunately, did not win either of them, and they had a lengthy time of losing 90 games at least. Tampa Bay Rays. So the article actually mentions how the Devil Rays franchise was 645 and 972 with 399 winning percentage. The Tampa Bay Rays 1,267 and 1,062, a 544 win percentage. So it was those Devil Ray years that drug them down to the bottom half of the list. They've had a lot of success and made 2 World Series, but didn't win either of them. The Minnesota Twins, who have lost 18 straight games in the postseason, or else they could have been a decent amount higher. Next, let's go to Tier 3, which is known as the Middleweights. So the Middleweights are teams 9 through 15, starting with the New York Mets, 21. Of course, they have an owner who is spending a fortune. Will that finally get them a World Series win they've been looking for since 1986? The Arizona Diamondbacks, who did win their World Series against the Yankees, also have 5 division titles. Oakland Athletics. So the Athletics haven't won a World Series in that time, haven't made a World Series, but they've had a lot of success, known as one of the better lesser market teams at finding value despite not a high payroll. 7 division titles, 11 playoff appearances since 1995, although they are definitely in a down period, and there's a chance that they might not stay in Oakland. The Texas Rangers made back-to-back World Series appearances in 2010 and 11, lost both, but they've had some success, and let's see if Jacob deGrom could help get them back in the playoffs. The Angels of late, I'm surprised they were 11th, because in the Mike Trout era, they had 1 postseason appearance, and they lost all 3 games. But they did win a World Series in 2002 against Barry Bonds and the Giants. Top 10, starting with the Cubs. So the Cubs finally ended their amazingly long World Series drought in 2016. That was the second of 4 straight playoff appearances, also made in 2020, so a lot of their successes come somewhat recently. The Philadelphia Phillies, last season's NL champions, also won the World Series in 2008 and lost in 2009. Next, let's go to Tier 2, which is known as the light heavyweights. So they are teams 8 through 4, starting with the Cleveland Guardians. I believe the Guardians are the highest team on here. Yes, they are. Who have not won a World Series in this time frame. They've lost 3 close ones to the Marlins and Cubs, but they've won 11 division titles since 1995. The San Francisco Giants, of course, had that even year stretch, 2010, 12, and 14, where they won World Series. That's why they're 7th. The Houston Astros, who began the 2010s as an awful team, 90 lost seasons that dropped them some points, but of late, of course, won the World Series in 2017. We know what they did. I won't get into that. Lost in 2019, lost in 2021, and are the reigning World Series champions. So they've skyrocketed up the list. The Dodgers 5th. So much success in the regular season of late, but have just won 1 World Series in this time since 1995. That came in the truncated 2020 season. And the Boston Red Sox, who won 4 World Series since 1995, although wasn't a good year for them last season, and they did lose Xander Bogaerts. And the top 3 teams, the St. Louis Tier 1, the heavyweight. So the St. Louis Cardinals, who won the World Series in 2006, and there's another year they won it, 2011, and also lost 2 World Series, but made the playoffs 17 times since 1995. Of course, a lot of their success came at Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright. The Atlanta Braves, division titles galore to start this. Won the World Series the first year this was included, 1995, and of course 2021. 17 division titles, including 5 in a row currently since 1995. And no surprise, and a pretty sizable lead on here, the New York Yankees with 110 points. Yes, they haven't won a World Series since 2009. Only made 1 World Series since 2004. But 24 playoff appearances, and the most losses they've had since 1995 is 78, which is still an 84 and 78 record, so a winning record every season. So there you have it. The Athletic ranking the 30 teams in the wild card era. So since 1995, do any of these surprise you? What do you think about these rankings? Let me know in the comments. Who do you expect to move up? Who do you expect to move down in recent years? The next few years. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.